Welcome to the exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian.
It's E.T. week.
Yay!
Are you excited? I am excited. And let's get right into it.
I'm excited and new.
Excited and new. That's the way to go. Today we're going to talk about a troubled child summons the courage to help a friendly alien escape Earth and return to his home world. Gertie thought he might have been female, but
Did he know his sex? I know he said he's a boy, but did he know? How did he know?
I don't know if there's
Did E.T. have a dong?
I saw sperm dripping out of his finger.
Every time he showed that finger, every single time he showed that finger, all I could think about was the doctor from Cannonball Run.
Oh.
Where he's like, all I need is this.
I got a different finger. Every time I saw the finger, you know what I thought about? Keenan Ivory Wayans imitating Arsenio Hall.
That extra long finger.
It's so long. He's just like... This is E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, in case anybody out there didn't catch on to what we're talking about this week. It's a movie that released in the theaters June 11th, 1982. Still in an 82 year.
We're barely halfway through.
We're halfway through the year, but we just started. Movie's rated PG. It had a runtime of an hour and 55 minutes, which actually felt just right pacing wise.
Man, this movie went by fast. I could not believe when they got to that end part. I'm like, this is the end already?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know when the last time I actually saw this. I owned it on DVD, so I probably saw it in the 2000s.
So would you say kids. DVD? You don't even have it on Blu-ray? So
no,
that
definitely
shows you
not
how
Blu-ray.
old it was. Yeah.
But I definitely watched it with my kids when they were young. I saw this in the theater, but man, I don't really remember when the last time I saw this all the way through, and I could not believe how fast this movie went by. It really was quick.
I love the pacing of it. It was very fast, got a lot in there. It's also been at least 25 years since I've seen this movie. I mean, I don't know the last time I watched it.
I think at least 10, 15 years for me. It stirred up some feelings.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me tell you.
I can remember where
not gonna lie, I felt a little.
I got choked up at the end. And Michelle came in and sat down the last 20 minutes of the movie, and
like,
I know
I
know she's staring at me. That bitch. I know she's looking at me right now, being like, "This fucking guy's crying." I wasn't crying, but I was like getting like a little welled up.
No, man, that.
But when I saw this
spoiler
movie,
alert, that little talk at the end there, man.
Yeah,
oh
the end.
God!
When I saw this in 1982 in the theater, I know I was crying like a little bitch. I mean, I was a little bitch back then, and I saw this in the Quaker Bridge Mall, and
nice.
I remember walking
Spaceport right across.
Yeah, right across from it. And I remember walking out of the theater because I saw it probably the weekend it came out, and like there were a line of people, and some of my friends were in the line, and I was like, yeah, it was all right. I'm like, it's kind of, yeah, it was stupid, man. I don't know.
Tissues in your hand. You're like,
I went to transfer the file onto a USB to put it on the TV, and I had it FAT32, so I could only do 4 gigs, and it was a 4.3 gig file.
Do you understand any of the words that are coming out of his mouth?
Well,
I realized that the movie didn't fit.
So it didn't fit on there. So my mom's in the room and Christine's in the room, and we're getting to the.
Do they have to hold hands and you can get the file from one to the
bunny
other?
ears.
But we're at the point where Elliot's walking up to E.T. for the goodbye. Oh. And all of a sudden, it just shuts off.
Oh, wow.
And Christine's like, what the hell?
Is that how it ended?
And I was like,
I don't remember that ending.
Oh, yeah. I only could fit in up to that point.
But that's so you can get like an hour and 50 minutes in, but you couldn't get the last
4 gigs. So if I had.
Did you not watch the ending?
No. So I never watched. But I knew what was going to happen. I'm like, I'm not going to cry in front of these two.
I'm sorry. You watched an hour. I need the ending. I want that. I haven't watched this movie in so long. I need that last few minutes, don't you?
Well, I forgot how much I did need it. Yes, it was a great ending.
I was going to say this for a little later,
myself,
but
yeah.
Did this movie hold up? 100% this movie held up.
Not only did it hold up emotionally wise, like special effects wise, I thought it was really good. And there's not a lot of special effects, really, just when the bikes go up in the air and stuff like that.
This guy who directed the movie, I'm not sure you guys heard of him, Steve Spielberg.
Yeah.
This guy could direct the hell out of a movie.
Yeah, great director. And I remember watching E.T. and then not that much later watching Poltergeist, which he didn't direct, but I think he directed. They always say that he might have been the.
That was Joe Dante.
No,
that's Gremlin.
I forget who it was, but he. They always say that Spielberg really directed Poltergeist. That
I have heard
Toe
a
Hopper
rumor
or
like
something
that,
like
too.
that. But anyway,
Joe Cocker.
yeah, Joe Cocker directed it, and it almost seemed like the same set was used, the Poltergeist house and the ET house.
I said that during it too. I was
it
like,
seemed
that's
like
the
that
Poltergeist
same
neighborhood.
that same neighborhood, that
That
in the
neighborhood
valley.
looks so cool to live
And
in.
I remember back in the day being like, oh my god, if I could live there.
Imagine living in California. It's so
where you could
cool,
just like
man.
ride your bikes like all over the place and into the
There's hills to ride off and jumping off hills and
just
stuff like
watching
that.
and listen, I got something to bring up later about a show that's been out recently but man, I had the vibes of that show were in this movie as well. So
That's nice. Poltergeist director.
Toby Hooper.
Oh yeah, who also did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Original.
Spielberg
1974.
wrote it with two other.
but they always say
There is that rumor,
Spielberg-
though.
Spielberg really directed it, and it feels like a Spielberg movie. But what were we talking about? E.T.
What's that about?
Yeah, no, this movie looked great. Total great feeling watching it.
I
Not a
love
wasted minute. Like I said, it went by so
talking
fast.
about
and-
where they like the area they were living in and everything. Nighttime in that area seems so cool
with the
and
fog
just, like,
always,
yeah,
there's
it's
always
like
fog and
That's another thing I brought up. I said Spielberg loves fog, and like every time it fogged, Christine was like, "There's your fog."
Yeah,
well,
it's
that's
like-
because fog's good for atmosphere, I guess.
that's why Stranger Things was really good this first season and everything because they had a lot of fog.
So I have notes. I don't usually take notes.
This is
but
the
I took
first.
notes.
Make sure we
because
keep that.
things were
Do not edit that out.
as things were happening, I was like, I don't want to forget to talk about this. In that first scene,
I have
when
a
that
few things
ship
listed, too.
When we first see the alien ship and the ETs are in the woods and stuff like that,
and we start seeing some people
and
in
the feds
woods.
start
Yep.
coming. What's with those gigantic mushrooms and stuff like that? Did you see that like right at the beginning? What was that all about?
vegetation because of the ship landing? Like,
no, I think that was in the ship. I think that they were collecting. They collected plant species.
So they were space botanists? Is that what they were?
Basically. That's
okay.
the kind of feeling I got.
That was
ET was
inside
in
the
training?
ship.
Or?
I believe that was
Oh, I
inside
didn't get
the
that
ship.
feeling that was inside the ship.
Do you think he was
Okay.
in training, ET, because he didn't know too much about that, but because he keeps making that plant come to life, right?
That's true.
I wondered if E.T. was like, if he had a congenital heart defect or something like that his heart was on the outside like that. But then one of the other guys had a outside heart too. So I guess it's just common in their species. But,
He had a thoracic.
but that
aneurysm.
seems like a very bad design for a body to have
Did
your
you
heart
know,
just sticking outside like that.
That was a stuntman. He was 2'10" in the body of ET.
Okay.
Oh, 2'10".
Yeah, but
That's like mini-me size, right?
Yeah.
but in the kitchen scene, when he's like on his hands and it.
When he's drunk or when Dee
Yeah.
Wallace is like not seeing him as she's
when
like
he's
walking
drunk
around.
and he's like all over the
Oh,
place
okay.
and everything. That scene was done by a child who didn't have any legs,
Oh.
but was very good at walking on their hands. Yeah,
Really?
that's something I read on the old IMDb.
How do you cast for that? Like, open call for any children with no legs. Please show up at Spielberg Studios.
Also, be able to walk on your hands really well.
Yeah, that I wouldn't want to be the casting director that day.
No.
The casting couch would be very unappealing that day. Harvey Weinstein's not showing up that day to the cast.
That's horrible.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
it was a 12-year-old boy born with no legs, but was an expert at walking on hands.
Wow.
I guess if you don't have legs, you have to become an expert at walking.
So wait a second. His like ass was up in E.T.'s head.
So he was your age.
What?
Oh yeah, 12.
12-year-old
We were 12.
boy. He was a
Back
12
then.
Yeah.
I was like, am I 12?
He is now too.
He currently still is my age, yes. I don't know if he's got
That's how
legs
that
yet. Did his legs come in yet? Sorry, buddy. If you're out there, whoever you are.
I also read that Spielberg, he shot most of the film from like a eye level of like a younger kid. So that's why a lot of the shots are lower. Like you don't see the teacher's head.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which we thought possibly could have been Harrison Ford, which ended up being a different cameo that Harrison Ford was in, but then was cut from the movie. So I wonder if it's out on the interweb or anything.
I don't know why you have Harrison Ford in there to not show his face. And I don't know. I don't know what the.
But I could see Harrison Ford doing that. It's like, I'll do it. But
You heard his voice, maybe you'd be like, "What do you mean this kid's running around letting horny toads?"
Or if you want like this, Boba Fett. What?
Oh, Boba Fett. That Boba Fett's are my notes. My notes are Boba Fett because when they were doing the Star Wars figures,
I have the question for you.
Here's Hammerhead. Here's Snaggletooth. Here's
the question is, can you name
blah.
all 6 of the characters?
All right,
That
let's go. Well, it was Hammerhead. It was Snaggletooth. It was
Hammerhead is correct. Snaggletooth is correct.
It was Lando Calrissian. It was
Lando Calrissian
Boba
is
Fett.
correct. Boba Fett is correct.
What did he call Snaggletooth, though? He didn't call him Snaggletooth.
No.
Oh wait, what?
He called Snaggletooth something else. What did he call Snaggletooth?
Walrus.
Oh, and Walrus
Nope.
Man's separate.
Walrus Man is somebody else.
Oh.
Also known as Panda Baba.
But he didn't say him, did he?
Yeah, he said Walrus Man.
Oh, he did say
say
Walrus
Walrus
Man,
Man.
and there's someone else?
Wait a
Yeah,
second,
you
who's
missed one.
Snaggletooth then.
Snaggletooth is
Snaggletooth's shorter.
Yeah.
He was like a shorter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He had like almost like a dog
he missed.
face.
He didn't say IG-88, but he said somebody else that may or may not have shot first.
Greedo was the
Greedo,
first.
yeah.
Greedo was the first one he said. Yeah.
That was
okay.
of Star Wars characters from the first movie. Who was the most desirable?
Sexual?
Not original. Not the main cast, but who of it? Who did you want?
question. What was
What
that
character did you want?
From the first movie, from the
From the first
original
movie.
Star
So
Wars
just
movie?
A New Hope.
A New
As,
Hope.
as
yeah.
far as characters, as far as action figures
Like
go?
action
figures,
figure.
yeah.
What did I want?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want me to say Greedo? I don't know if Greedo was the answer.
For me, it was a specific one, and I never got him.
So it wasn't a main.
It was not a main one, no. But it was mentioned in that grouping.
I'm probably going to say Hammerhead was the guy I wanted the most.
Yeah,
Oh, I had
for me,
Hammerhead.
so-
Momal Nadan, his name was.
But they weren't named that in A New
I know
Hope.
they didn't say it to him,
They were
but they
all
didn't say anything
snaggled-
because it's not even like they didn't go, "Oh, hey, Hammerhead, what's going on, man?"
But-
It just showed Hammerhead. He was like playing cards.
But when those figures
whatever.
came out in '77, they were just Hammerhead and Snaggletooth and Walrus Man. But when they came out,
Well, remember they didn't even come out in '77
well,
because you had to
78,
you had to get
the
the
male early bird,
Yeah.
which I got.
Too bad you don't have that anymore. Huh?
Too bad
I
I
would-
don't. Too bad I don't have everything from
I wish I had that too,
45
man.
years ago.
I'd
But
be worth so much.
when they re-released those figures in '97 and stuff like that, that's when they started adding their extended universe names.
Yeah,
Pondo,
Yep.
Boba, and what was Hammerhead?
Moma, MOMAW, Momal Nadan, and also
Nerd.
like I also like Nien Num. He
Nien
was
Num.
he flew with
He was in the
Mando.
Millennium Falcon during
Yeah.
Jedi. Yeah,
I saw all that stuff on the menu yesterday at the Thai restaurant.
you are not wrong.
Wait, it was Star Wars themed.
No, but it all sounded like they just took all the names off a Thai menu and just said, "Yeah,
Tatooine,
Pan Thai,
Tatooine shrimp.
Pan Thai chicken." That sounds like a name of a guy, right? Is he a bounty hunter or is he a rebel?
Panda Baba.
And with my Panda Baba, no
Wait, is
no
that-
peppers, please.
How
no
do you
green
cook?
peppers.
How's the panda cooked?
Panda with extra bamboo?
That was pretty good. I was hoping that you would get you. I guess you got 5 out of 6.
I had Boba Fett written in my notes. Some minute I'm going to get up and get my notes. One of the other things I definitely remember
That's
that
why
I
your
wrote
phone's on
down
charge.
that I remember was when you looked at when the older brother Mike, when he
You know who he looked exactly like?
yeah.
He looked just like C. Thomas Howell, who was his buddy Tyler.
Well, it was so funny because Michelle said last night, she's like, C. Thomas Howell is his brother. I'm like, no, he's fucking not. I'm like, I guarantee
His
you,
friend.
C. Thomas
His
Howell
brother's
is
friend.
not his brother.
But how much
You
does
got
his
angry
brother
at that.
But how much does his brother look like C. Thomas Howell? He could have been his little brother, I think.
I thought the kid that was the other kid that was one of the main friends looked a lot like Cameron from Ferris Bueller.
Oh, there is somebody.
Oh,
there's
yeah. I agree with you on
I
that.
got
I was
another
like,
one of his buddies. He was Casey Martell. He played Greg.
Is it Greg? What his name in ET?
His name's Greg in E.T.
Okay.
And he was one of the older friends. So he's the 14-year-old kids. He played Eddie on Growing Pains, 19 episodes. He was one of Mike's friends.
Okay. Maybe I do know him from that.
Yeah.
The other kid, I have it in my notes. The other kid, when he at the end on the bike ride, when they were all racing with the bikes, when he had the red trucker hat with the headphones on his head,
Yeah.
I'm like, did they like I know Stranger Things came out 35 years after AT, but I'm like, is that fucking Dustin sitting on the bike there?
They
I was like,
right
so obviously they looked at ET and they were like, we got to cast a guy that looks just like that dude right there. And because as soon as he showed up, I'm like, Dustin, what's he doing in this movie?
One quick question about the when they were flying on their bikes at the end there. Why were they all pedaling still?
They all, and the one kid said, he closed his eyes. He's like, let me know when we're down.
That's what it was, Greg. That was Greg.
Oh, that's Greg. Okay. One more thing about the town. So we see E.T. at the beginning in the hills looking down on the valley and stuff like that. And then when Mike goes racing off on his bike, those hills are right up against that house. Because you can even see the road, that dirt road that the truck drives down, looking down into the valley. My question is, where was that cornfield? Because there was an actual cornfield in their backyard, but
right.
I don't know where. There's no cornfield at all in the rest of that movie, except when he goes in to find E.T. in the cornfield. But there's maybe like,
because that's when the ball, right?
He's in the shed, but their back,
okay,
but their backyard,
behind the shed is
their backyard backs right up to a cornfield. But it doesn't look like it's physically possible to have a cornfield there because the mountains are right behind their house.
It doesn't feel. Yeah, that was that's the one thing Spielberg messed up there.
It could have been like a roadside stand, and they had like a 1 acre cornfield.
It was only like only like 3 years deep, but E.T. was hidden in the 3
She just
years.
got separated. She was trying to make a little extra income.
That's right. She was doing corn porn.
I think I've talked about all my notes now.
Do you want to guess how old Dee Walsh, who played Mary, was in this? How old she was during this?
So her oldest was 14, right?
Yes.
Dee Walsh was, hang on. So that movie was 40 years ago.
That is correct.
I'm trying to do some math here. Sorry.
She's only 7.
She was 31 years old.
31 years old.
I was going to say 32.
Okay,
32 years old. The correct answer is, I would have said 33 years old. Pretty good. That was very good. Yeah.
And Dee Walsh, besides Cujo, I'm not sure what else she was in, but she was in Cujo.
She did a lot of things. Right now, we're not really doing that deep dive on Dee Walsh, but Cujo is the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Dee Walsh. Also, E.T. And I want to say Dee Walsh looked really hot in this, I thought.
Yeah.
She was in The Howling, too. Was she in The Howling?
I didn't even know her name.
I'll look that up real quick for you, Andy.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to.
While you guys are talking about
computer blank.
About how hot she was. Well, you guys.
Dee Walsh is in The Howling.
She was. Okay, cool. All right.
That was 1981. We could do that if you want to add it. I mean, we need more Halloween movies.
No, we don't. Our Halloween's going to start in like September
and finish in January.
So, Dee Walsh, and she was first billed. Good for her.
Yeah,
glad she was
this was
first
big
billed.
for her. Yeah, this was a big movie for her.
I mean, this was a gigantic movie, and you had a woman billed first in the movie.
Speaking of gigantic movies, there was a candy company by the name of Mars Incorporated that turned down an offer to have their product M&Ms in this movie, and that's why Reese's Pieces is in this movie.
And that's all well and good, but could you even tell that they were Reese's Pieces or M&Ms? Like how? Like
he had that big orange
bag.
bag.
I know, but you could film that and not even show. Like
they didn't have to do that.
I'm surprised you have to go to
product placement.
I'm surprised you have to go to the company and ask them. Did they go to Coors? He drank like 4 Coors beers. Did they go to Coors?
Coors is probably a sponsor, though. You know what I mean? Maybe not as big a sponsor as.
Do you have
Reese's.
to sponsor to allow your product to be in a movie?
I don't know what it was back then, but I think now. I think a lot of these products, like you'll see
now,
Pepsi
they put them in there.
Like that, they're paying for that. That's
right.
Yeah.
But back then, I'm saying, did you have to ask permission to allow that to be in the movie? That's what it seems like. They had to ask permission to M&M's or Mars to be in the movie.
I think you had to. I don't.
So then they
I
had
don't
to
think
ask
you can't use their
permission to
likeness.
Coors, too.
I guess because their likeness is copyrighted or patented or whatever that is.
I don't even know if you could even have told what they were if you just had him holding the bag.
But it would have been like they would have made it like very special. You would have saw the M if it would have been prominent like that.
Like,
you know?
I don't like Reese's Pieces.
Oh, I love
and I ate a lot of Reese's
fuck is
Pieces
wrong with you?
after
I
that movie.
love Reese's Pieces.
They're little Reese's peanut butter cups.
Well, I love Reese's peanut butter.
I know,
and
and
these are little tiny ones.
With a
I don't
special
know.
hard shell on it. I mean, come on.
And by the way,
weird
peanut
taste
M&Ms
to
are
me.
also awesome too. So
Well, I
I'm
love
a fan
peanut
of both.
M&M.
The peanut butter M&Ms are really good.
I'm a fan of both sides of the fight here. I support both sides. I'm an independent.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never liked. I mean, I ate them because they were candy, and ET liked them. But
Like, good enough for ET.
once I became an adult, I never ate them again.
I haven't had Reese's Pieces in a long time, but I haven't had Reese's.
Put it
peanut
on
butter
the
cups.
menu for next week with the Thai food.
Thai food and Reese's peanut butter cups or Reese's Pieces. I know I have something else in my notes. I probably have to get up and go grab my phone.
Well, why don't you go get your notes when I bring up the IMDb score? You want to do scores real quick?
Are we not doing any other cast members?
Cast members. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got. You want to guess how old Henry Thomas, who played Elliot, was?
Well, I was 12, so I'm hoping he's 12 because I really related with him because my brother was 14.
That makes a lot of sense. And your older, was your brother more like Michael in this one?
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, Andy, did you have a guess off mic real quick or no?
What's the question?
How old Elliot Henry Thomas was?
So, let's see. I was 11 going on 12 when this movie came out, and this was filmed probably the year before, so this was probably filmed in 81. He had to have been 12, 13 years old. So I'm going to say he's a year or two older than me. I'm going to say he was 12 at the time. So he's like 53
You both say
now,
12,
53.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, you said 12? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I don't usually.
That's all right. It's fine. You both said 12. He was 10.
Oh, my
Really?
God. Really?
10 years old, yeah.
And you know what? Usually kids in movies ruin movies. All these kids were great. I mean,
yeah.
Drew Barrymore, what is she, 4 in this? She was amazing.
Drew Barrymore, I have her age. Is that your guess for Drew?
I'm going to say she was 4.
Man, I'm going to say 6.
She was 7.
Oh, wow. Really?
Gertie was 7 in this, yes.
She was great.
When she was in the driveway and she was pointing out when Mike drove out, I laughed
was
out
great.
loud when she was like, he did this and
How about when she went like this? Deformed kid.
Yeah. Where's Mexico? So my notes go, what's with the big mushrooms? I said booking on those short legs when he was running through the forest at the very beginning there. He was running through the forest. I'm like, can those little tiny feet go that fast?
Also, how great how great are those kids on their BMX bikes?
That was one thing I didn't write in my notes, but the only obvious stunt double was Henry Thomas.
oh my
because
God, that was a woman.
That was a full-grown man.
I was going to say he
right?
grew
I thought
6
that was
inches
a
at
woman.
least.
Yeah,
But it was a full-grown adult.
full-grown woman. Yeah,
Was it a woman? Yeah.
that's what I think.
Slighter
she was,
frame.
Yeah.
So I had booking on short legs, Boba Fett in big letters, cornfield or mountains. I put there.
When E.T. was watching TV, that scene was
I
fun.
said, how big is that moon? Because that when Henry Thomas and E.T. go
That's
over
another
the
thing
moon,
with that. It's where
moon is. I mean,
It's the valley. I'm telling you, it's the
come
valley.
on, man. The moon is never that close.
Just
to
like
Earth.
when you watch Cobra Kai, you want to live there too. I mean, it looks so cool living in the
Not
valley,
where,
dude.
Not where Johnny lives, man.
No, where
Daniel
Daniel
LaRusso?
LaRusso's Audi. Is it an Audi dealer that he is?
And then I had, so how big is that moon? And then I had Dustin, ?
Nice.
And then my last thing was subtle cars marked United States government.
Yes.
Just written on the side.
And it was
of
like
the car.
random station wagons.
United States government
K cars.
letters. I was like, geez, could this possibly be the feds here? United States government. Really? Prove it. Look at my car.
Like, we need to see this alien. Like I said earlier, as I was coming in, like, was there really a need? Once they surrounded the house and they had ET and everything, there were still people walking through the windows, and she's like, "This is my house. What are you doing? Like, you controlled us. We have an hour and 55 minutes. We know you're here. We know we got to get to the next scene really fast." So.
That's always one of those things where you want to see, like, just in the post-credit scenes the next day where, like, she's like sweeping up all the broken glass and there's no feds left, and she's just like, fucking guys broke all my windows. Like, thanks a lot. I'm a single mom here
And then-
with 3 stupid kids.
And then you just want to see like a baby ET come walking in and like, and then there's going to be a sequel.
Well, there was a sequel planned. Nocturnal. I don't think it was called Nocturnal Emissions, but
A
it was called,
nocturnal
like,
ET.
it was called Nocturnal something. Nocturnal.
Why did they never do a sequel?
Yeah,
Because Spielberg didn't do sequels back then.
But
like,
was,
I think
was
the
there
only-
like a script and stuff like that?
I don't know
Like,
how far it got, but
That's interesting.
I think besides
That's why there was a
Temple of,
Goonies.
Temple of Doom. I don't think he did any sequels until like
What about Jaws 2? He didn't
do that. He didn't
there
do
was
Jaws.
rumors of a Goonies too for so long, and that never happened.
Did he direct that? Did he
produced
direct?
it.
He produced that.
Yeah.
But
That was Chris Columbus, I think. Who
he did
directed
all the Raiders movies or the Indiana Jones movies. But besides
that was
that,
the guy from Home Alone too, right? Home
Yeah.
Chris Columbus
Yeah.
and the first 2 Harry Potter, I think.
And he discovered the new world.
And he
Whole
discovered the new world.
new world.
Wow.
I like when we get a Jason song in the middle of a podcast. Someday we're going to get him just up there and on stage. The whole hour is going to be Jason singing.
We got the mics.
Wait for Grease 2, man. That's going to be on.
I'm out. I don't even know any of those songs. Now, Grease 1.
All I know is the
or I
one,
should just say
Cool
Grease.
Rider. That's the song I know.
Reproduction. I love
Oh, Reproduction.
that
I know
song.
that song as well, yeah.
I could do all the Grease songs without even a prompt. I could just sing them all.
Well, we definitely should do
I know the Grease
on
2 one's
Patreon.
better.
Why?
What's that?
I know Grease
better.
2 better.
You know why? Because Grease, you were probably a little too young to really watch that. And then you didn't really
My,
Yeah,
catch
on
my
HBO.
grandmother took me to see that in the theater.
I was going to say you didn't really catch stuff on TV as much or able to rent it as much, so you don't see Grease. Grease 2 comes on. That's all over HBO when that
Yeah.
comes out. You're a little older. You get into it. Michelle Pfeiffer in those pants.
Oh, wow.
Hoo-ha.
Michelle Pfeiffer's hot. She's no Olivia Newton-John in those pants.
They're both hot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not disparaging Michelle Pfeiffer, but Sandy.
Oh, Sandy.
E.T.? Sorry. Go on, Brian. You had something else to say about Grease?
No, Michelle Pfeiffer. I think she was one of the women that developed my ideal woman.
That's a bad idea. Having a woman like that.
How old do you think C. Thomas Howell was in
So how old was Michael? He was, did we do him? We didn't do him. So Henry Thomas was 10, huh?
Henry Thomas was 10. We would do Michael first. All right, Michael first. How old was Michael?
I'm going to say he was like 15. Oh, no, he was driving. He was trying to drive. Well, California
What
driving
did she
was
say?
different.
Not a foot past,
Past the driveway.
driveway.
That's why when he pulls all the way out into the
And
street.
Gertie's like, look what he did. This. He did
So I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to say he was 16.
16 for for Robert McNaughton, who played Michael.
I'm going to go I'm going to stick with the 14.
He was 15.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got.
And so
right
C.
around.
Thomas Howell, now, this is before, obviously, like before The
Outsiders,
Outsiders. And,
Was that 83 Outsider?
yeah, so
Which we'll be doing next year.
I'm going to say he was,
Will we do that one?
sure, it's a great movie.
I like it.
I'm going to say he was like 14 or 14. I'll say he was 14.
We got a 14 for C. Thomas Howell. I should have looked up what the C was for.
As Michelle calls him, Tom Howell. I'm like, is he your fucking buddy? Like every time she talks about him, she's like, oh yeah, Tom Howell's.
What?
in
I know
there.
she has like a real
Tom
affection
Howell.
for him. What was it? Was it because of Outsiders that she likes him so much? I wonder. Or
I know Christine loves Outsiders. And I'm going to say 16. I'm going to
16?
reverse. We're going to reverse on
and what
this.
did Andy? What did you say, Andy? I'm
I
sorry.
said 15, right?
14.
Oh, 14. Okay.
All right, you guys went around it again. He was also 15.
Okay.
Yeah. He had E.T.'s face was modeled after poet Carl Sandburg, Albert Einstein, and a pug.
And a pug.
Yeah.
Now there's one other cast member in this movie that I want to discuss.
Does his last name remind you of a dog?
I'm not sure who that is.
Peter Coyote.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Second build. And did he have like 3 lines in this whole movie? Like why
I-
did he get second build?
His
I didn't understand why
silhouette
he
was
was
from the
second
beginning.
build.
I
though.
know, but like why is his name came up second?
How
after-
old do you think he was? Like, you didn't even say his name. Can you tell me what his name was in that?
Federal agent or whatever. Yeah.
Peter Coyote's name in it is Keys. Keys.
Did someone say that at one time?
I don't-
Hey, Keys,
I
I'm
only-
bringing the body out
The,
to the.
the only way I know it is from IMDb, so I didn't hear it.
So
if it
he was
said.
probably like 40.
We have 40, and we have a
I was going to say 42, but I'll do 44.
40 is correct.
All right. So there's one
kids are
other.
on
There's
point
one
for
other
your
cast
ages.
member.
So there's one other cast member that wasn't Peter Coyote that you want to talk about. Okay. I didn't. I have all them. That's all that I had listed out here.
And I only knew this because as I was watching this, I was like, did anybody become anything from this? You know, C. Thomas Howell obviously became something. I was wondering if the other
Oh, you
kids
mean like they
became anything?
broke
Yeah.
out movie,
Right.
whatever.
So the little blonde girl that he ends up kissing when he
Oh, Drew
steps-
Barrymore.
No, in his class when he steps on the
Oh
other
yeah,
kid.
she was taller than it.
Yep, that is Erica Eleniak, and she was Charles in Charge's girlfriend on Charles in Charge. She was a Baywatch girl.
That's
but more
right.
importantly,
Love.
she was in Under Siege with
Charles
Steven Seagal. She
Erica
was the chick
Eleniak,
she was the
yeah.
chick that popped out of the cake in Under
Yep.
Siege. She was a Playboy playmate.
We saw her
and-
boobies in that.
Yeah. Well, she was in Playboy. She was in Playboy before Under Siege. I
That's
don't
a
know if she
nice.
was
That's
the-
a nice pull.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like I just happened to see her name, and I'm like, is that the girl from Under Siege? And it turned out that was the girl from Under Siege. Yeah,
Was that '90s Under Siege?
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I Google Erica Eleniak every once in a while.
How's she doing? Do you follow her on like
How old is she?
Instagram and
She's
stuff?
probably like our age. She's probably like
Oh, yeah.
12 in this, so she's probably our age.
Uh-huh.
Is it okay to enjoy a 12-year-old when you were 12 when you first saw her?
I think
I think
somehow
so.
that's
That's
allowed.
How's that math work out
I
there?
think
Is that
somehow
to
you're
your-
allowed to do.
We can't enjoy her now.
No. But if you see
I'll tell
her
you, she was
as a 12-year-old, be like,
She was born September 29th, 1969.
she's a year older than us.
So she was what, 13
Well, she was probably
almost 13.
12ish when she filmed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Henry Thomas making out with a girl 2 years older than
Well, he had to step on a whole nother person to kiss her. That was great because I didn't know how that scene was going to end. I was like, he is so much shorter than her.
It
How is he
also
going to
seemed
get up
like
there?
they had way more frogs than they needed.
There were kids throwing them out the windows by the handful. Just throwing
And then that
frogs
girl was
out.
standing there with two in her hands. She was like, ah.
By the way, that high school, just the throwing the frogs out the window scene reminded me of Red Dawn, when the original Red Dawn movie where the teacher gets shot right at the beginning of the movie because they're all looking out through the slats in the window when he gets shot right there.
Makes me think of like all those, like, what was that one in the, I think late 80s, The Principal. It was like James Belushi or whatever, remember?
I'm proud
I
to
think-
say I've never seen a Jim Belushi movie.
And Louis
Oh,
Gossett,
that's
I
not
think
true. He was with
Louis
Arnold in one
Gossett
movie.
Jr. was in it, I think, with him. That was good.
What was the one was that Red Heat with Arnold? Red Heat?
I don't think I remember that.
Anyway,
According
It's
to
probably-
Jim, I thought that was
I don't even
funny.
want to talk about it.
I don't-
I'm not watching it. I never
I'm
will.
not watching that either. And I don't think that was funny.
So, in what year did Henry Thomas? How old is he?
He was 10.
I hate Googling while I'm talking, but
We'll try to cover it up with
It's kinda-
something right here, right, Brian? Like,
They probably had to cast
All right.
a 10-year-old
So,
to kiss
in
Erica
19
Eleniak.
in 1983, my parents and I and my sister went to San Antonio, Texas. As my dad had a conference in San Antonio, so we flew to San Antonio. I'm going to say maybe Houston, whatever. Got a car. We drove all around the Southwest. Went to Grand Canyon. Went to Carlsbad Cavern.
that sounds like a
Bryce
lot of
Canyon.
fun.
And that's a big trip.
You were with my family. It was not.
Well,
But-
I mean, where you were going, the places you were going.
Yeah. So we were in San Antonio for a week while my dad went to conferences. And so if this was 1983 or 4, I was like 13, 14. My sister was like 10 or 11. We went on like day trips with the kids class and shit like that. So we went to the Alamo one day. Ozzy Osbourne was not pissing on the Alamo that day, which he did the year before.
It also was really small and turns out no basement.
Yeah,
bas-
no
basement.
Jan
But
Hicks.
the day we went to
R.I.P.
the day we went to the Alamo, we could not
Jan
actually
Hooks.
get into the Alamo because they were filming a movie that day.
Ooh.
And it was called Cloak and Dagger, and it starred
Cloak and
Henry
Dagger,
Thomas.
yeah.
And we were like not allowed.
I love that.
They had
movie.
us like on the street looking at the Alamo, and we were allowed to stand there and watch them film, but we were not allowed to actually go in the Alamo.
And obviously,
So
they
to
didn't
this day-
pan to you to be
and
like that.
to this
like
day, I've
that.
never actually been
That was-
in the Alamo because that was like our day to go when it was
And you
closed
couldn't
down
get
for
in.
shooting the film. So the next day or 2 days later, whatever, still that same week, my sister and I went to, I don't even know what it was, some kind of like botanical garden or something like that. It was like an indoor greenhouse.
Henry
But
Thomas was there.
It was gigantic. It had a chairlift where you got on a chairlift and you would chairlift all the way over to the other side, and there were just trees,
like
and
a
bushes
monorail
and
kind of thing,
flowers
like
and
with a
shit.
chair,
like a great adventure chairlift. It would
That's
just
cool.
take you from one side of the park to the other, but all that was below you were trees and shit like that. As my sister and I are going across that, they were filming a scene.
Oh, come on.
Right below us with Henry Thomas and whoever the girl was in there.
see 'em?
Yeah, they were right there.
That's
they had
so
big
cool.
signs up like quiet, like so we weren't going like Henry. So as we're going across this stupid chairlift, they had big signs that said quiet. That's what made us look down. We're like, what's the quiet sign all about? And we saw that they had like
Now,
a whole
did
film
you watch
set.
the movie? Do you remember that scene, or can you think about
To this
it?
day, I have never actually seen the movie. It's so funny how when that
So,
came out, I was like, "Hey, Becky, I
When's
said
it
to my
come out? When are
sister-
we watching it?
Oh my god, yeah. So anyway, that's my Henry Thomas story. That was really
cool.
It was really cool.
Why
yeah.
didn't you lead with that? You're like Anthony.
Well,
Like, I'm just-
I knew
I'm
I
just
wanted to
kidding.
bring it
I'm
up. I
just
wanted
kidding.
to get it in there.
I just
but-
wanted to make fun of Anthony.
yeah, it's not like sitting at a bar with William Shatner. But
I mean, come on. It went from Anthony talking to Bill Shatner. Now Bill Shatner's talking to Elon Musk on Twitter. I mean, come on.
and just a spoiler alert, I do not have any Mel Gibson stories for next week. I have none.
Are you sure there weren't any times where you were hanging out and he just went on like a real
Anti-Semitic rant. No, it did not happen. I was sitting there going like, so
Has he
Mel?
has he been able to, you think he's back, like where he's like welcome back
I have
yet,
no
or-
idea.
I wonder, yeah.
I know he was in like one of those like daddy daycare
He did
movies or something like that.
a
Or
Christmas movie where it's like a Santa, but he's like evil. I heard it's
Krampus?
really good. No, it's not Krampus. I'll have to get the title. Maybe it'll be an upcoming recommendation.
we'll talk about that
on a
next
mini
week when we talk
podcast.
about Mel
Yeah.
Gibson.
But Brian, did you get your name over there yet?
No, and yeah, actually, it was a different movie.
He's like, it
Gee,
was.
thanks.
Yeah, he's like, it was Annie.
Was it Carol
Carol
Burnett or the little redhead girl?
It was a combo of
Each one are
both.
bad.
They put them both into the mainframe, and that's what it came out.
Now I got to remember that movie.
Well, Dabney Coleman was in that, but in Cloak and Dagger,
Why am I not in that mood?
and it was written by Tom Holland, but there's no way that was Spider-Man.
I was gonna say, wow.
That would have been like years.
It
before he
was
born.
Linda Fiorentini.
Oh, I know
Tino,
that name.
The
and it was
chick from,
Gotcha.
Oh, gotcha. Sure. With
year is that, 85?
Matthew
Anthony-
Broderick,
No, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Yes.
What year was that? 85?
85, yeah. And that, I believe that was San Antonio.
Okay.
That was filmed in. Well, hold on, let me find out. But yeah, Linda Fiorentini.
I remember her. Yeah.
I knew that name. Yeah,
Yeah, Anthony
Was he-
Edwards. Back when he had hair,
Anthony Edwards for Revenge of the
Castle.
Nerds. Yeah,
and he was Goose.
Yes.
I never saw it.
That's right. You never saw it. And the sequel's coming out soon, and I will never see that.
That sequel's been trying to come out
I'm
for
going
years.
on record saying I'll never see that movie.
That sequel has been trying to come out for at least 2.5.
Well,
3
they
years,
spent
I
like $1
think.
billion on it, so they want to make sure like everybody's back in the theater for that. They want to make sure Omicron variants are.
We will.
a thing of the
We would
past.
definitely be not podcasting about that. I'm not
Maybe
watching
in
that.
2062 we'll be talking about it.
That would be one.
I will be 92 years old. Brian will be 30 years dead, and it'll just suck.
I'll be a head in a jar.
We'll feed you like Futurama, just with the fish food.
Yes. Hopefully, I'll be a robot soon.
Are you still Googling something over there?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where the filming locations are here, and like it was part of it was in Germany.
I have
That was before the fall, the wall.
I have a couple lines that Gertie actually ad-libbed in the movie,
Really?
and they kept in.
She
yeah.
was great. I
Yeah.
mean, for a child actor, she was so good.
At one
And I love Drew Barrymore. She's like one of those people that like.
She's just fun.
Yeah,
And just like
I mean, I don't watch everything
cute.
Drew Barrymore's in, but when she's in something, I mean, she was great in that Netflix show,
Yeah,
Santa Clarita Diet. She was
She's really
great.
good.
That was
Fun.
so
The
good.
Wedding Singer. She was
Wedding
really
Singer
good,
for sure.
you know?
Yeah, anything with her and Adam Sandler is usually
Yeah.
pretty good.
yeah. The one when they were in Africa. What was that one? That was fun.
blended. Or,
Yeah, blended.
Okay, that was good.
She said she looked down at E.T.'s feet and she said, "I don't like his feet," so they kept that in.
Okay.
The other one was she ad-libbed the line, "Give me a break," when she was saying like when he said, she's like, when they were telling her, "Don't tell mom, don't tell mom."
And he
not
said
gonna tell.
only adults can't see her, only kids can see her.
Yeah.
She turned and said,
She
"Give
said,
me
I'm
a
not going to
break."
tell. And then she turned to him and said, "Give me a break." I was like, "That's great."
It's insane that she's younger than us.
She's 7?
No,
thought-
I mean in real life.
Oh, Drew Barrymore. I know, right? Because we've known her our whole
Also-
life.
Her whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read in this that I read today that this movie It was the longest ever theatrical run. It was in the theaters for over a year.
Wow.
Damn.
You know, back then you weren't doing video.
Yeah.
Video was
But
probably
also, I
just
read.
starting,
I didn't get the note on that, but I saw by 1988, I think there was like over 15 million copies of that owned.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I ever owned it on VHS. I definitely owned it on DVD.
I don't think I had VHS, DVD, and I have a Blu-ray. I think I have a special edition Blu-ray, like maybe the 25th anniversary or something. Blu-ray is that.
I don't know if I ever
maybe 30th anniversary.
I don't know if I ever told this story before. I don't know if this is the right forum for it, but my grandmother's second husband worked for RCA, and they had like a video thing before Laserdisc, and it was really like almost like a record. And the machine was gigantic, and you would put these records in, and it would play the movie.
It wasn't laser. It was before.
It was definitely not a laser. It was just, I think there was actually a needle in there playing this movie.
It was analog.
My grandmother would go to like the RCA store. You could only rent them from RCA. They weren't sold in stores and stuff like that. And she would go to the RCA store, rent like 3 movies, and then tape them and send them to me and my sister and stuff like that. So we would get
put them on VHS.
6-hour video cassette with Raiders of the Lost Ark, Man with the Golden Gun, and like, you know, Batman or something, like Batman 66 on a 6-hour tape. And it was like, you remember those old videotapes? They were like super
stuttering
red and like they had the wavy lines at the top.
Yeah.
But I definitely had E.T. on one of those tapes that my grandmother sent me because.
That's cool. But that back then, you're like, it wasn't bad. Like it didn't bother you. It didn't bother you so much.
Bad, but
it wasn't like where you were like annoyed where you wouldn't watch it. You still watched it because that's all you had.
I wish I could remember now what movie
it was. Porn, it didn't bother.
There was a movie, and I can't remember the movie now, but like it ended before the end of it. Like she had 6 hours. She had 6 hours, and she probably put the movie in and walked away, and she came back and she's like, "Oh, it's done taping, great." But like
the movie was 2 hours and 8 minutes,
right? And it just stopped taping, and I still don't know how that movie ended.
You don't remember what it is?
I think it was like a James Bond movie. I saw all the James Bond movies that way. My grandmother would like send me the James Bond movies on these tapes. I'm like, so. Did James Bond die? Because like the last thing I saw, there was a gun in his head, and it looked like he was about to die.
I have to tell you how Old Yeller ended.
And your grandma is pretty technologically advanced.
Yeah, right.
She was to be able to handle that. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how she even did that. I remember when I would go to her house.
That wasn't easy back
then.
No.
When I would go to her house, she had like a whatever the cable was. I mean, we're talking like early 80s here, and she had cable, and I would pick up the remote, and if I just wanted to go to like whatever MTV was, like 26, I would start like putting it, slap my hand. She's like, "Do not touch the buttons." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Up and channel up, channel down, channel up, channel down, volume up, volume down. Don't touch any of the buttons." Because I'm sure if I touched like. She was afraid I was going to like
hit source and
input 1, and she's like, "What the fuck's input 1?" And that would have been the end of that. I got to throw this TV out. So yeah, I was not allowed to touch any of the buttons.
You're on channel 22 and you wanted to get to 21. You had to go all the way around.
There was back, but if I was on channel 2 and I wanted to get to channel 30, I had to go 2, 4, 6, or 2. However the numbers go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think you missed one.
How did you go? They didn't go even and odd. They didn't have even and odd numbers.
I remember sitting on the couch with the box with the lever on it.
Oh, you had that with
it was the brown
buttons
box,
across.
Right?
Did you have the one with the
I love that.
Thing, yeah.
Oh, I love that because you just
A, B, and C.
Oh yeah,
and then you hit the number.
I never had that.
Yeah,
but
it started up top was channel 2 and it went all the way to like 13.
Exactly.
I didn't have that, but my other grandmother had that in Florida. When I would visit my other grandmother in Florida, she had that one.
The bottom row was HBO,
and
Cinemax, Prism.
Michelle's grandmother had that, and I started dating Michelle in the late 90s, and Michelle's grandmother had that. We went there for like Thanksgiving or Christmas one year, and I was like, what is with the archaic cable box here?
You had to sit there and the wire going across the whole living room.
The wire with it's a wired remote.
Yeah.
You had to sit within like 3 feet of it. You're like, so you could reach it.
And the TV that we first got cable on, so we had channel 3. That was it. We had NBC. And that was it. And then my dad got cable, and thankfully you could with either 3 or 4 that you would hook up the cable box to.
I only remember being hooked up to 3. You had to have it on channel.
I remember the option of 4 as well. Yeah,
and so we went from one channel to,
however many cable stations you had.
Exactly.
That was a big
channels.
That was a big. You're like, what is this?
You know what one of the biggest piss-offs of old cable was? When they all of a sudden, like the next day, you'd wake up and all the channels were changed. MTV wasn't 51 anymore. Now it was 17. And
how shitty was it?
Like, why'd they do that? Why they and then Channel 2 wasn't 2 anymore. Now it was like 100. And now HBO was Channel 2. Like, why'd they do that? What was that all about? Like,
remember when NBC and CBS like switched spots? Because now CBS is Channel 3.
Yeah.
And NBC is 10. And
I remember that. That was like in the 90s where they switched.
Why would they ever have to switch places?
I remember when like PST and someone did that on the radio. PST was growing up was 97.5 and now it's like 94.5 and someone else is 97.5.
How about further back, even when he would fall asleep in the TV, then he'd wake up and it was just like the Star Spangled Banner.
Or the static. Or it was just the static and the poltergeists were coming out of it. Yeah. We'll get to that at Halloween. Sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Wait, we'll get to that for our July 4th episode.
Well, I was going to say Poltergeist actually comes out next week or something like that. Poltergeist comes out in June, but we're going to punt that.
I got a lot to say about Poltergeist.
So do I.
Let's not talk about next week's movie yet, but let's get our scores. Do some scores. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
I have our IMDb ranking is 7.9, and I won't give the Rotten Tomatoes score until after we give our scores. And who would like to go first this week?
I'll go.
Okay.
So normally I'm in the 60s or 70s. I'm definitely giving this a 92.
I like this.
Yeah.
Let me write that in here for you.
Brian. Are you keeping this track of this?
Yeah, so this way when the episode comes out, I can maybe post what our scores were or what our ratings were.
Had I known. So what is
I just
my
started
score
doing that since
E.T.?
last week, though, so it's not going to be on the...
I mean, this movie is damn near perfect. I can't think, like, as I was watching it, there was nothing I was saying, like, there's nothing to cut out. It is so lean, under 2 hours, and it moves, and the kid actors are all great. Usually, you
Drew
get kid
Barrymore,
actors.
man. I want to watch Firestarter now.
Yeah, I mean, like, 92 sounds like good. Like, I'm going to say 95. Like, it doesn't get much better than this. And,
Andy's
of course,
95.
for nostalgia, I was 11 when I saw this in the theater, not quite 12, and it made me cry, and it made me cry today. Not cry,
Speaking
but
of crying
well up.
today, I had tears well up in my eyes as well. I took my glasses off, rubbed my eye. Just
When
to
Drew Barrymore
make it go
comes
away.
up to him at the end, she's like, I just wanted to say goodbye. I was like, oh my God. They got the little girl to do it? I was like,
when he says, like he says, come, and then he says, and then Elliot says, stay. I was like,
I thought Brian was going to say on my face or something like that.
it was just like, that's where I was like,
Is it hot in here?
When he died, I looked over at my mom, and
It's funny
I saw
because
her going like
I
this.
didn't know when I saw that in the theater when he died, I was broken up. But I guess knowing that was going to happen this time, I wasn't like,
it doesn't hurt.
that emotionally didn't. When he had to leave the kids, that really sucked. But when he died, I was like, I know he's not dead. So.
Yeah.
The image of him kind of all gray and whitish, laying in the water.
I was going to say, when the kid, when the
up.
brother found him just lying in the ravine, I was like,
and then he tried covering him up with the sheet. He's like, I got this.
Yeah, and I knew he was going to live, but whenever
How did you know?
Whenever I see him like that, I'm just.
But
like,
I do not remember how graphic it was. Just him lying there, and the raccoon's like chewing on his face.
He looks like 1980s dog
That
poop.
thing was zipped all the way up too. Like there's nothing. He's not breathing in there. Like,
Yeah, I know he's telekinetic and he's got a congenital heart defect, but can he breathe with no oxygen?
Because even Elliot's like, shut up, and putting the thing back over.
And that was one of my favorite. I did laugh a bunch of times during this, like actually laugh. But after he knows that he's alive and they're escorting him out and he sees the flower like coming back and he's just like, ah! I thought that was funny.
There are a couple little laughs like that, definitely. Speaking
And of course,
scores.
and of course, penis breath.
Penis
I
breath.
laughed this time too. I was like, man, I knew that line was coming and I still laughed.
How about when they were
And she laughs. Dee Walsh like,
Yeah.
Elliot.
when they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, they were smoking. Remember?
yes, they were.
But the only thing Dee Walsh yelled at him for was the pizza. What are you doing ordering a pizza? But that brings me to my score, which is a solid 90% as well. Nice. I love this movie. Again, I cried as well a little bit. And this movie holds up 100%.
So why isn't it 100%? It only holds up 90%.
It holds up 90. It holds up 100%.
90% of the time, it holds up 100%.
100% of the 90%. There's nothing. There's no.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes score or the audience score, whatever that is?
I have both for you here. Do you want the audience score first or the critic score?
Well, you gave me a 79 or something like that.
That was IMDb.
Oh, that's IMDb.
7.9,
Oh, okay.
So the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes is 99%.
Who's that one? Who's that one guy that was like, this movie blows?
Well, the IMDb score. Who the hell is giving a bad score for this?
Yeah.
And Rotten Tomatoes
But
audience.
to have a 99% critical, that means that somebody gave it a tomato or a smashed
we don't
tomato.
give a shit what the critics think because it's.
But
more
really,
about,
but like some
we're more
critic
like along with the audience score. And the
some
audience
critic watched this movie and was like, I don't know, when I watch this movie, I get angry, and I think Spielberg really messed up in this one.
But was it really anybody that gave it that bad a review? Because it's 99%. So
But that means someone had to have.
But
Isn't that the amount?
It's not out of 100 people.
It's out of who gave it a positive and a negative.
Exactly.
So
but
someone gave it a negative.
If the average is 99%,
that means that
someone could have given it an 80.
that's what I mean. Nobody gave it anything really low.
That's not what that means. That means that 99 out of 100 people gave it a positive review.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think it's
That's
the
absolutely what it is.
I think it's an aggregator.
You could give this a 60, and that's a positive review, and that is that's a positive review. So someone gave this a failing grade out of 100. 100 people, one of them gave it a failing review. That's what Rotten Tomatoes is. Rotten Tomatoes takes all the positive reviews and all the negative reviews.
Right here, it's not out of 100 reviews. It's out of 135 reviews.
I'm just saying 99 out of 100. That means one and a third people gave it a negative review.
Average out of 135 reviews. That's how they get the audience score.
Oh, audience score, that's different.
Out of 250,000 scores, that's a total. That's also an average. I believe it's an average, Rotten Tomatoes.
What was the audience score?
Audience is 72%.
Wow.
72? It's got to be Gen Zers.
Yeah. People just nag everything.
Now, that's a good question.
These effects were terrible.
I can't see people going back on this movie and saying, oh, that's, there isn't much that's not politically correct now.
There was nothing political in this at all.
No, I just mean just PC, like the whole woke culture and everything like that. Cut this part out.
Was there anything in this movie that there was nothing in this that 40 years later eyes were like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that.
No.
Nothing like that, right?
I don't think so. I think you had little the penis breath and
but that's, it's kids being kids.
That's 80s, kids being kids in the 80s, right?
And if you said it today, I'd still laugh. I'm going to call Logan penis breath as soon as he comes back from his vacation today.
Are they on their flight or they're getting ready to, right?
They're flying home soon, or they might be in the air right now.
Hey, let me see where they're at.
So we pause to see where our children are.
I have to go pee really bad.
Yeah, I do.
Oh boy.
Jason, open your mouth.
Just need a bucket.
Another thing we
here.
wanted to talk about, the top lifetime adjusted grosses, where E.T. fell on that list. Top three was Gone with the Wind was number 1. Star Wars was number 2. You didn't guess number 3 yet. But where did E.T. fall on this list?
So this is top 10?
I have the top 200.
Oh, I was going to say, so E.T.'s in the top 10, but
it's got to be up.
well, it was number 1
there.
for a while. It became number 1 when it came out. It passed Star Wars, and I'm going to say that Jurassic Park passed it. So it was probably number 1 for a decade.
Don't forget there's movies like Titanic and
I
never saw
I
it.
remember movies, but I'm saying
I'm just trying to.
It was number 1
trying to help you guys
until
out.
Jurassic Park, because then I think Jurassic Park became number 1, and then I think Titanic,
Park
and then Avatar, and then Endgame.
I like E.T. better than Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park comes in at 18.
I don't know about that. Jurassic Park better than E.T. better than Jurassic Park?
Yeah,
I don't agree with
for
that.
me. Yeah,
Jurassic Park comes in at 18 on the top 200.
Yeah.
Really?
Then I'll say E.T.'s 25.
And Brian.
I'm going to go 20.
E.T. comes in 4th
Wow.
on the top.
Oh.
What's number 3?
Number 3 was The Sound of Music.
Oh, okay. See, those old movies, people had to buy tickets for them, I guess.
Yeah.
5 was the Titanic. 6 was the 10 Commandments. Jaws was 7. Dr. Zhivago was 8. The Exorcist 9. And number 10 was Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
Now, these are based on box office tickets?
This
Ticket
is
sales.
top lifetime adjusted grosses.
See, and I think I would rate Jaws above E.T. Just one notch
Jaws
above.
Amazing movie.
Jaws.
But I think all these
favorites.
numbers
It's
are
hard to do the
skewed-
compare.
Yeah, all these
like
numbers
that.
are skewed by the fact that nothing came out in video back then.
Yeah.
So you had to see Jaws in the theater or Star Wars in the theater or
Yep.
even E.T. in the theater.
Or you
didn't have
waited
it.
3 years later when you were able to rent it
But-
from your corner video store.
Maybe E.T., but Star Wars, there was no videotape even by Empire,
Yeah.
and Jaws definitely not. And Gone with the Wind, no one had TVs back then, so all you were doing was just going to see a fucking movie. I'm surprised Wizard of Oz isn't high up there either, because
I watched 20 minutes of Gone with the Wind last night.
did you really? I've never seen
Mom and Katie
any
were
of it.
watching it, and it was an absolutely insane 20 minutes. I'm like, this movie's 4 hours long. This 20 minutes was insane.
Was the civil was
insane in
the
what
was the
way?
South winning at the time?
No, it was the war was already over.
Oh, okay. I don't know where.
Like,
does
it's-
it take place at the end of the war? I guess.
The part that I watched, Rhett and Scarlett just got married and had a kid, and it's just like, what the hell happened before and
It is a
after this
4-hour
20
movie
minutes?
too, right? Yeah.
I didn't know they got
it's-
married and had a kid. So when he says, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn," he's leaving his wife and child.
I
Don't they
never
not
even
even
got
say
to that part.
He doesn't even say that in the movie. That's one of those
He doesn't say
urban
that?
legends. He doesn't say that exact line that you said. It's something along the lines similar to that, but that's one of those quotes that everybody gets wrong.
They had a very contentious relationship in the 20 minutes I watched, and that was the only 20 minutes.
Now,
I
was
ever
this
watched
20
that
minutes from
movie.
the beginning or 20 minutes in the middle, 20
It was
minutes
about
near the end?
It was about 3/4 through.
But I didn't realize he was a deadbeat dad. I didn't realize he was running out on his wife and kid.
Oh no, he was a super devoted dad.
But then when he leaves, doesn't he leave at the
took
end?
their daughter.
Would you say hopelessly
London.
devoted dad?
Yes, he took his daughter to London and left Scarlett in Atlanta.
Great.
While
show.
Sherman,
I didn't watch this
while
week.
Sherman was marching on it.
Yeah, and then within 5 minutes, her best friend dies and her daughter dies.
Whoa,
the
whoa,
daughter
whoa.
dies?
Spoiler.
In
Come
London?
on. We're going to
Oh,
be
I'm
doing this
sorry.
one 40 years after its release date.
I think that was. I don't
we
even
missed
think
that.
we were born yet. Wait,
This was all in the 20 minutes of a 4-hour movie.
well. Then it sounds like it's got
Now-
a lot going on.
Does it make you want to see the rest of it?
Oh
Or-
yeah, because I'm like, what the hell happened before this, and what the hell happened after this 20 minutes?
The South still loses it.
I just like
Yes.
the Carol Burnett edition of it, where she's coming down the stairs.
What the hell is that called? The
I don't remember the name of it, but it's so
her soap opera was As the Stomach Turns. But what was the Gone with the Wind?
I got to be right back because I'm not wearing a pad today.
Okay, why don't we end this then? Can we end it?
I
We've done
believe
ET.
I believe we're getting to the end of ET here.
I'll just hit pause.
No, I believe
No,
if
I
we
think
come
we're
back, we're gonna lose it. I think I
okay.
think we got the full episode. So
Go
I'm
watch
gonna say
ET.
this has been the exciting and new podcast. You can catch us on Twitter, Instagram.
Brian really has to pee. He's like,
TikTok.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
I'm Jesus74 on Twitter, the Jason on Instagram, AE Gonzo on the gram and Twitter, Papa Bad Kitty. Go take a pee pee.
Now he doesn't.
Thank
have to go. He's done.